what if you had to pay for a subscription to buy something? This sort of Amazon Prime-esque thing is actually happening in the Elder Scrolls Online, interestingly enough. Benevolent Bodhi posts on Twitter this interesting tidbit from an article about the Harpy's Bane Durzog. Now, it will only be available to ESO Plus members in the Crown Store on all platforms for a limited time from January 2nd to February 1st, 2024 at 10 a.m. Eastern. What's really interesting about this is that apparently if you are not, as demonstrated by Azura, who is a fellow YouTuber, if you're not an ESO Plus member, or an active one at least, you will have a message that pops up that says you must have ESO Plus to purchase this product. Now, I thought this would be an interesting topic to talk about. And of course, Happy New Year to all of you watching, especially since it's happening in the first few days of 2024. And also, I think it's a hint of what's to come for ESO, at least in terms of the monetization practices that have been developing in the recent months. So just to kind of break this down here, as you go in the game, you will see, interestingly enough, at the same time, there is a similar mount called the Nissus Durzog you can get in the daily rewards, which is nice on the second day of July. So this is what it looks like in the game for this free daily reward mount called the Nissus Durzog. Now, if you go to the Crown Store, you'll notice that in the featured page, you will have a Harpy's Bane Durzog. And it's basically the same mount model, but of course with different features and colors. So, and of course, it says here, ESO Plus exclusive. And I don't have enough crowns to buy this, but it will show up like this if you don't have enough crowns to buy it. And as demonstrated by Azura, it will show up as saying you can't buy it. So I think this was, like an upper management or kind of like high business decision. So what we can speculate is that the number of ESO Plus subscriptions is going down, which means they need to create incentives to make people get ESO Plus. And how do they do that? They put incentives in the Crown Store for you to get if you're an ESO Plus member, right? I mean, you look at this. Like, you have an ESO Plus price for something that normally costs 1,000 crowns, and that's going to be 800 crowns if you're an ESO Plus member. This has been going on for a while, and if you're an ESO Plus member, you get the occasional free statuette. These things you can place in your homes. That's nice. This is actually kind of funny because the irony of all this is that since ESO switched gears significantly from the business point of view from 2017 to cater more to seasonal or cyclical player bases and aiming their monetization at those player bases, the game kind of drove itself into this corner of needing a long-term subscriber base, if that is indeed the case here, if the subscriber count is down for ESO Plus. Arguably, I think there is enough incentive in ESO Plus right now in terms of the concepts, such as, you know, infinite material bag space, the craft bag, right? We have the double inventory and housing space if you're an ESO Plus member. You have a slight XP bonus gain. You have access to all previous and upcoming DLCs minus the new chapter. This experiment, or this gamble, I guess, is a twist on one of these concepts, such as the free statuettes in the Crown Store. The difference here, obviously, is that you're being charged for an ESO Plus exclusive item, as opposed to getting a free one or getting a sale price adjustment on something that's available to everybody in the Crown Store. So instead, this is kind of artificial pricing plus artificial gatekeeping to sort of push you into considering getting ESO Plus to unlock a part of the Crown Store. In one way, I can see some people liking this because maybe those people don't feel like there's anything to spend their ESO Plus crowns on, and they'll always have ESO Plus anyway, and it's cheaper. This monetization effort seems more focused, though, on not that demographic, as that is more of a side effect, but more focused on the demographic that doesn't have ESO Plus yet or have canceled their ESO Plus. Is this monetization surprising? No, I think it was the next logical step, at least financially speaking. If you, as a company, you're looking for ways to monetize the microtransactions further, especially within the context of addressing the front of gaining subscriptions to gain more money, or just to get more money in general twice from the same consumer. It's not like this is the first new move. if some of you recall the more recent polymorph bundles with crown crates, which was, at least in my opinion, predatory, as I've gone over in a different video. Is this a smart move? I think it's hard for me to say so objectively if it's a smart move or not. I think there was clearly an attempt to gain goodwill, or at least the long-term player base, with Update 40's Infinite Archive being free. So in terms of timing, it's not like this is a disaster after another, at least compared to 2022 or even other MMOs. I think, again, this move to monetize things like this in this way continues to show a glaring and a slightly complicated issue that we've all been talking about collectively for years and years now with ESO, that there aren't too many game-made incentives, no matter what area of the game we look at. Everything that tends to stick usually is community-driven, which is a great thing, but there still needs to be some more support from the game itself for those communities to also stick around long term. I will say, as part of constructive feedback here, is that if they are going to continue doing this sort of ESO Plus exclusive items on the Crown Store, they shouldn't go too crazy on it, making half a section of the Crown Store locked to ESO Plus members. But what I think will happen, and will fortunately or unfortunately work depending on your perspective here, is that this strategy will more than likely succeed in gaining more ESO Plus subscribers or subscriptions, depending on the quality of the things, or perceived quality of the things, that are available to ESO Plus subscribers only in the Crown Store. And of course, we got to talk about the price here, because 1,000 crowns for a mount is, well, objectively not that bad when you look at the other outrageous prices of other things on the Crown Store, like the Gamba crates, crown crates. We have pretty high prices for houses, so housing. We even have other mounts that are, more expensive, like a camel is $8 more roughly than what this is. So it's interesting that they're doing this now. And this is kind of how they will get people, or get you, on top of the other incentives to get ESO Plus. So to me, I think I'll be interested in observing the trend, or what happens at this point on. Otherwise, if I had a say here, per the announcements from 2023, that the development focus of ESO will instead be on revitalizing or adjusting the older PvE content, or potentially the PvP, after the new server installations in 2023, I would highly recommend putting both perennial and one-time rewards like mounts, like they're doing for the Crown Store, in said older content, and rather than just the Crown Store, because I can guarantee that a lot of people, since we're talking about ESO Plus right now, probably did not buy the DLCs after getting ESO Plus. So, because they had ESO Plus access to those DLCs, I certainly didn't buy all the DLCs after I got ESO Plus, or the ESO Plus crowns. I think a lot of people just don't have. If they cancel their ESO Plus right now, they probably wouldn't have access to the trials or DLCs they have right now with ESO Plus. So instead of this, I feel like a better way to get people to get ESO Plus would be to give us a reason to go back to older content to get those in-game rewards or incentives. But then this is a bit more complicated by the fact that Crown Store, or rather Crown exchanges, are a thing. So technically, you don't even need to get ESO Plus to get DLCs. So I don't know. It feels like after years, it's come to this point where no matter which direction they go in an attempt to get more money or to monetize certain aspects of the game, it's a tough corner to put themselves in. On a personal level, I just am not a big fan at all of monetization practices like this, but it's kind of a bit interesting, again, because I'm assuming, at least for me, that the number of ESO Plus subscriptions has gone down, or maybe they're looking at how they can get more people to get ESO Plus at the very least. And I think this is certainly a way to do it. Is it a feel good way to do it? I guess that depends on your perspective. But anyway, hopefully your 2024 is starting out well. and I'll see you guys soon.